Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamada Yapurnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Chaitanyam Sarvagam Sarvam Sarvabhuta Guhashayam Yat Sarva Vishayatitam Tasmai Sarva Vide Namaha. The author is establishing how the Mahavakya such as Tattvamasi in itself is adequate to create the aparoksha jnanam, immediate knowledge in the aspirants, and that Brahman is the self, Atma is aparoksha. Usually Brahman or Ishvara is thought to be paroksha or different from us, away from us, separated in time and place, etc. No, Ishvara is not away, he is the very self, and therefore Brahman can be known as an immediate reality because it is my own self. The self is already known as aparoksha there, except that it is known as limited. And Brahman is thought to be, of course, limitless but paroksha, away from me. So this Mahavakya Tattvamasi, that thou art, says that thou art that, you are that Brahman, meaning you are not a limited entity, you are limitless. And that Brahman is you, meaning that Brahman is not away from you, it is an immediate, it's your own self. So these two notions that I am aparoksha, all right, but I am limited, and Brahman is limitless, all right, but paroksha. So these two notions we have. Brahman is limitless, I know, but it is paroksha. Separated from me, I am separated from Brahman in time, space or conditions. And I am aparoksha, all right, but I am limited. This Mahavakya Tattvamasi eliminates. So when it is uttered and the student then deliberates upon that with yukti or vichara. So this Mahavakya provides the very basis of the vichara or the deliberation upon the nature of realities of life. And thus eliminates basic notions of the self being limited and Brahman being separate from me. that the limitless Brahman is my own self. I am limitless and therefore there is no limitedness in me. There is no lack or want in me. And this is what makes the person free from all the sorrow arising from a sense of lack or want. Now the discussion is continued with the 8th verse. Brahmasmi iti buddhivat kartatvad buddhehe api. Since various sentences or statements obtained in different parts of Veda, which have been interpreted differently by others, and which could be interpreted differently by anybody, and this discussion is from the standpoint of Mimamsa, analyzing the statements of the Vedas. Brahmasmi iti buddhivat accepted that this statement imparted by the teacher, Tattvamasi, creates in me the aparoksha jnanam that I am Brahma. But Shastra not only says you are Brahman, Shastra satyam vada, dharmam chara, may you speak truth, may you be righteous. Sahi karta, Ishvara is karta. Bhokta ityahur, the Atma is bhokta. So Shruti herself describes Atma as karta bhokta. Shruti says Atma is Brahman in Tattvamasi or Aham Brahmasmi. But elsewhere Shruti also says Atma is karta, Atma is bhokta. So both these kinds of statements are available in Shruti. Therefore we now have to arrive at understanding which one is valid or which is addressed to whom. So karta bhokta yash shastram loka buddhinuvaditata. When Shastra or Veda says that Brahmano yajeta, that one should perform this duty, that when this Shastra instructs us to perform kuru, may you therefore perform the action. Lord Krishna would say, kuru karma eva tasmatvam. Therefore, here Arjuna, may you perform action or duty. So Shastra which says that you are Brahman is the very Shastra that also says, may you perform your duty, Brahmano yajeta. And that the Upanishad says you are Brahman, then Shruti also says you are bhokta, bhokta ityahur manisha. So then, is Brahman the nature of Atma? Along with that is Kartrutva, Bhoktritva also nature of Atma? How do you relate these statements? So this is again analyzing the Mimamsa. Karta bhokta yash shastram. Shastra says that Atma is Karta in some place. Karta, at least with reference to dream or swapna, he is Karta. Bhokta in the day-to-day life. So Shastra seems to concur with this notion that Atma is Karta Bhokta, Loka Buddhi Anuvaditata. He is not saying something new. Loka Buddhi Anuvad, it's Anuvada. Anuvada here means a restatement of what is said elsewhere, or what is known elsewhere. So, sometimes even Shastra also restates or reiterates what we already know. Agnir himasya bheshajam. Fire is the antidote of cold. Now that statement is just reiterating what we already know, is called the anuvada. So in the Vedas also they categorize the statements as apurva vidi nisheda, arthavada, anuvada. So this, that you are karta bhokta, in which category do these statements fall? The teacher says they fall in the category of anuvada because they are telling you what you already know. So Shruti accepts that people have this notion that I am karta bhokta, and momentarily accepting that notion, this person is asked to perform the duty so that in course of time he will become free from karma or free from sense of kartrutva. Therefore, it is not that when the Shruti says perform karma, it is making an independent statement, is only restating what you know and guiding you to live a life such that you ultimately become free from sense of kartrutva. Sadasmiti shrutehe jata bhadyate anya etaya eva dhihi. And that's the reason why Sadasmi, when this knowledge takes place, I am Sat or Brahman, that kartrutva, bhoktrutva, which was the result of ignorance, also gets dispelled. Therefore, karta, bhokta, the statement that we find is with reference to ignorant person. Tattvamasi is for generating the wisdom. Therefore, they don't have the same category. One is subject to negation, other one is ever there because it realizes the. So, kartrutva, bhoktrutva does not describe the reality of Atma, whereas your Brahman describes the reality of Atma, and therefore, analyzing various statements obtaining in the Shruti, tadevam vakyadeva aparoksha jnanam atmavisham utpadyate. In these verses now the author has asserted that vakyadeva, by the statement tattvamasi aparoksha jnanam, the immediate knowledge of Atma takes place as Atma is immediate. Now Atma is there, but Atma is Brahman, that immediate knowledge takes place. So aparoksha jnana of Brahman takes place. Tacha nirapeksha. Now next question is whether is that knowledge enough in itself to remove all the anartha or sorrow, or does that knowledge need some help to liberate you from sorrow? So knowledge that takes place on account of the imparting, this teaching Tattvamasi, that I am Brahma, is that knowledge enough in itself to make you free from samsara, or do you need something over and above that knowledge to become free? So from this verse, the next 10 verses, they represent the view of the Purvapakshi. They call it Swayutya. He is basically in our own Paksha, but then having some differences in understanding or views. So belongs to this party also, all right, but then has certain views as far as other things are concerned. They don't accept or agree with it in every aspect. So there can be a congressman in America who can be same party, Democrat, But this fellow is conservative, this fellow is liberal. There are different views about different things. About abortion, all the current topics, they are quite contrary views. So they can belong to your party but may not agree with you in entirety. Similarly also, this fellow belongs to the Vedanta. He Advaita all right. But he believes that simply knowledge of Aham Brahmasmi is not enough. So knowledge that takes place when the teacher utters the statement, you are Brahman, that knowledge in itself is not enough to liberate you completely. You need to do something called prasankhyanam. Prasankhyanam meaning that again revolving that statement in your mind. Simply Shravanam does not do the job. Prasankhyanam here only means Mananam Nididhyasanam. So, this view is that Shravanam alone is not enough to generate or to create a Jnanam, or to remove all the anartha. You also require the Mananam Nididhyasanam. So, that is called here Prasankhya. So, Prasankhyanam, that's the word that is used here. So verse 9 says, Sadeva tvamasi ityukte na atmano muktata sthira. When the teacher says, or when he knows Sadeva asmi, as a result of imparting the knowledge, teaching, the disciple recognizes Sadeva asmi. I am no more jiva, helpless, hapless creature, I am Sat. So Sadeva tvamasi, you are Sat. When it is said, and when the disciple knows Sadeva Asmi, and so I am Sat, I am Brahman, Nityamukta I am. Iti yukte, when that is stated, that knowledge that I am Sat, na atmanah muktata sthira, that mukti that is generated by this knowledge I am Brahman is not sthira, is not abiding. Even if momentarily you see yourself as Brahman, that is not abiding. You need to do something over and above Shravanam in order to have abiding knowledge. So, in our view, we can say that Shravanam in itself is not enough. But Mananam, Nididhyasanam are also required to make this firm knowledge. Only firm knowledge can do its job. So muktata atmana muktata nasthira. The liberation of Atma is not abiding just by knowing that I am Brahman by Shravanam. Parvatade prasanchakshamat Prasanchaksham ato yuktyanuchindet. Prasanchaksham meaning prasankyanam. So says yuktya sahabhyased ityartha. The abhyasa is required. You have to again and again deliberate upon Sadasmi, Brahmasmi along with yukti, meaning Mananam, and Nididhyasanam also. So, in short, technically speaking, Shravanam by itself does not create the liberating knowledge. You require Mananam, Nididhyasanam for that knowledge to be clear or firm. Pravate prasanchaksham atah yuktya anuchintet. Anuchintet. Therefore, the student also should keep on deliberating upon the statement, I am Brahman, along with yukti. So whatever obstacles are there still, meaning that it is the knowledge that takes place, is sapratibandhakam jnanam, jnanavit pratibandhaka. And therefore, you have to remove those pratibandhaka by mananam nididhyasanam, then alone that becomes the abiding knowledge. Not that we do disagree with this, but we say that Shravanam creates aparoksha jnanam. He says that Shravanam must be accompanied with Mananam. So deliberation along with Yukti, at least Mananam, then only the aparoksha jnanam takes place. So Shravanam itself does not generate, is not capable of generating aparoksha jnanam, and also require Mananam. What is Mananam? Deliberating upon the same statement, I am Brahman, with the help of the Yukti, which to remove any doubts and any obstacles that are there for that knowledge. So here Shravanam and Mananam are required for the liberating knowledge to take place. Shravanam alone is not enough. Then something has to be done. This prasankhyanam is an action that you have to continue to perform that mental action in order for aparoksha jnana to take place. Then uktameva sadhayati, the Purvapakshi or that Ekadeshi, we call Ekadeshi, explains Sakruduktam na grunadi vakyarthagnopi yo bhaved apekshata evanyat avocama dvayam hitata. Vakyarthagnopi, even the one who knows the meaning of the Mahavakya, Sakruduktam, by just being told once that you are Brahman, na grunadi, is not able to grasp that. Even though he may have deliberated upon the Tatpada, Tvampada, and still this is not able to generate that aparoksha jnana, apekshate atayeva anyat avochama dvayam hitata. Therefore we say that something more is expected. Dvayam, these two things, Vakyanuchintanam, Yuktya Alochanam cha. So, repeating the statement and applying the reasoning to gain, to make that statement the capable of generating aparoksha jnana. Meaning simply, teacher saying that you are Brahman is not capable of creating aparoksha jnana. The student should again revolve it in mind. And with yukti also again, remove any obstacles to make it aparoksha jnana. So Shravanam in itself is not enough to create aparoksha jnanam. This Maranam, Vakya Anuchintanam, Yukti Alochana. Not only you deliberate, but keep on also applying yukti or reasoning to make it very clear. So thus far we have come in our discussion. We continue with the verse 11. So where did you know tattvasyadi vakyeshu vidim na upalabhyate? All the Upanishad says tattvamasi, that thou art. In this there is no vidhi, meaning that there is no instruction that you have to do again this, anuchintanam, alochanam. See, this is karma. What the Ekadeshi believes is that Shravanam then must be followed by the karma, mental action of the nature of Vakya Anuchintanam, deliberating upon the Vakya and applying the Yukti. That mental action is required to generate aparoksha jnanam. So then Vedanta says that Tattvamasi is a simple statement. It does not say you do this. Where did you get the idea of something to be done? Tattvamasyadi vakyeshu vidim na upalabhyate. That is simply a statement of fact. Tattvamasi, it only reveals the fact that it is existing, and therefore you have to see that, that's all. In that statement there is no verb which implies any kind of an action. There is no vidhi or injunction in that. And also there cannot be vidhi. Brahmatma vasacha swataheva siddhe. It is not that teacher says you become Brahman. You become something, then something has to be done, that would be Vidhi. But you are Brahman. So this is daylight, this is sun, this is moon. Now you have to see that fact. In case you are not seeing that moon, or you don't know what this moon, or this is a given nakshatra. So that this is Saptarshi, I did not know, this is Saptarshi. That statement only reveals the existing fact and does not imply that I need to do something to create Saptarshi. It is Saptarshi that I have to see. So Tattvamasi, you are Brahman, simply reveals an existing fact about you. And since you have notions about you or Brahma, that you think you are a Jiva, therefore he is asking you to see yourself that you are Brahman. In which the Nisheda of the Anatma is to be done, because in my conclusion I am a Jiva-Atma, I am also is that is Brahman, and Jiva-Atma, that is Yushmat Pratyaya, Anatma Pratyaya is there, so that is to be negated to see that I am Brahman. Brahmatma Svata eva siddhe, that already Brahman, I don't need to do anything to become Brahman. So neither the statement implies any kind of an action, nor the fact that I am already Brahman requires any action. I don't have to become Brahman. I only have to see the fact that I am Brahman. So where did you get the vidhi that something has to be done? Tattvamasi does not imply it's simply a statement of fact and therefore does not imply any action on the part of listener. Moksho niyogopi na ghatate. Two things are there. Number one, the statement Tattvamasi does not involve any injunction, nor anything has to be done because I don't have to become Brahman or to see the fact, therefore there also action is not involved. So there cannot be any niyoga or injunction or command to do something in an existing fact. That this is gold. You don't need to do something just to see. In case you think this is some other thing, then this is gold, this is bangle. And therefore, how did you get this? Niyoga means injunction. So how do you get this idea that Shruti is asking you to do something, because neither statement Tattvamasi implies any doing, nor that I am Brahman, which requires me to see and not to do something? So then the Purva so Ekadeshi replies that. So we are Purva Pakshi now to that fellow, and he replies our doubts, okay, clears. Sakaduktam na grunnate. No. Niyogo pratipannatvat karmanam sayatha bhavet aviruddho bhavet tavat yavat samvedyata drudha. The Tika says Vakya matrat aikatmyasya apratipannatvat. Apratipannatvat. You don't see this fact that you are told you are Brahman and you don't see it. Apratipannatvat. So it is not possible. The thing is that we may not see that I am Brahman is one thing. But when a student is prepared, then this Vakya is capable of making him see. That's the whole idea. It is true that by listening to this Vakya once or many times also, maybe this vision may not take place. Not because Vakya is not adequate to do that, but because I am not prepared. I don't have that maturity or purity of mind to understand the meaning of the statement. the statement is quite capable of creating the right knowledge. But it also requires samskara or preparation on the part of the listener. So if the knowledge does not take place, it is not because the Vakya is not capable of generating knowledge. The idea the question is Vakya not capable of the knowledge does not take place? Is it because of the incapacity of Vakya to generate knowledge, or is it because of unpreparedness of the student? Vedantin says that the student is prepared, then this Vakya, Tattvamasi, is capable of creating Aparoksha Jnanam. Says, so Apratipannatvad, Vakyamatrat, Aikatmasya Apratipannatvad. He says merely Vakya cannot create the knowledge of the identity. Sakshat Krutatva Bhavad. That Vakya is not able to create in me this immediate knowledge, Sakshatkara, that I am Brahman. Tavat Niyog Aviruddho Bhavet. Therefore, until then the Niyoga that you should do something is not opposed. Even though Tattvamasi does not have any verb to imply a Niyoga or injunction, nor the fact that a Brahman requires to do something, but then that Vakya is not able to do that. Meaning that merely Shravanam cannot create Aparoksha Jnanam. Until Aparoksha Jnanam is created, so Yavat Samvedyata Brahmatmaikata Adhuda Adhudana Pratiyate. As long as this knowledge that I am Brahman does not become firm, then Vakya is not capable of creating a Dhruda Jnanam or the firm knowledge. What Vedantin says that for a sadhana chatushtaya sampanna adhikari, that Vakya is quite capable of creating Aparoksha Jnanam. Purva Pakshi says, or Ekdeshi says, even a adhikari also, in that also Vakya cannot do. This is where the difference is. Not that just because anybody listens to the Vakya that Aparoksha Jnanam takes place, but even for a prepared student also it cannot do. This is the idea. Sakshat Kruta Abhavat, that immediate knowledge doesn't take place, and as long as Dhruda Jnanam does not take place, so long there is scope of action in terms of the prasankhyanam. Which means that you must deliberate upon the Vakya and with the Yukti. So where do you... So gives the Drishtanta here. Very technical point. The point is that the Mimamsaka says that a statement can be effective only when it is Niyoga or Vidhi. They call it only Vidhi Vakya as those which are capable of doing their job, not Arthavada, not Anuvada. So first line says, Karamanam Sayatha Bhaved. Saha Niyoga Karamanam Yatha Bhaved. So, if you study Vedas, then you know Agnihotra, Karma, etc. is all there. You simply perform Agnihotra the Karma because you know what Agnihotra the Karma is. That Karma cannot generate the right reward. Only when the Veda says that Yavajjim Agnihotram Juhoti, may you perform the Agnihotra Karma. So when there is Niyoga or injunction, then alone it generates results. Idea is that Karma will not produce the outcome if you simply do that Karma. But when that Karma is enjoined by the scripture, that is when the Karma creates the result. So Karmanam Agnishtumadinam Yatha Bhavet Vakyat Avagatanamapi. Even though you may know from the Vedas action, the karma called Agnishtoma. But unless the Veda says, you perform Agnishtoma, Sarga Kamo Agnishtoma Jajeta, the one desire of Swarga should perform Agnishtoma, and then when you perform, then Swarga will come. If you simply perform Agnishtoma karma, Swarga will not be a result, but only when Veda says so Swarga Kama, the one desire of Swarga should perform Agnishtoma karma, and then alone Agnishtoma karma will create the result. They say that only Vidhi creates the result. If you simply do something, you don't get the reward. When you do something in keeping with the injunction of Veda, that may you do this Satyam Vada, then if you speak truth, then it's fine. Meaning that what gives capability of karma to produce result, it is Vidhi that gives the capacity to karma to create the result, not otherwise. Now you are simply doing doesn't help, not is adequate. Doing in accordance with the niyoga or vidhi or injunction. So just as even if no Agnistoma karma is not enough, only when the Shastra says, may you do this, that is when that karma produces result. So it's always niyoga produces the result, not karma. Therefore, niyoga is to be understood. Here, even though there is no verb, etc., which says, the injunction or niyoga or command is not there, but it won't produce result. Niyoga alone produces result, not karma. And therefore, even this mananam, etc., will not produce unless it is done in keeping with the injunction. Therefore, you have to imagine, that niyoga is involved, even though there is no verb in Tattvamasi. And still, this will produce knowledge only when the action is performed of prasankhyanam in keeping with an injunction. So, vakyat avakadana phalaprapta is drishtantārtha. So, yatha is first line, sa yatha bhavet, sa niyoga yatha bhavet karmanam. Karmanam sa yatha bhavet is drishtanta. Just as the karma produces a result only when it is in accordance with the niyoga or injunction, so also the moksha will be the result, aparoksha jnana will be the result only when it is the result of a niyoga, not otherwise. Yavat samvedyata adruda. As long as his knowledge is not firm, so long this prasankhana must be done to make it firm. This is purely Mimamsa, but we learned something about their thinking here. Next, the teacher says, Kincha vidhimantarena chet brahmatmaikyam vakya swameva pratipadyeda. They do not accept anything that takes place without the instruction of Veda. Only when Veda enjoins, then alone result can come. It won't come simply by your doing it. Vidhim antarena brahmatmaikyam vakya swayam pratipadyeda chet. So simply Tattvamasi, you don't imagine a vidhi there, you don't find vidhi. So without that vidhi, if that vakya creates aparoksha jnanam, that something can create result without vidhi. This is the idea here. Even Tattvamasi Mahavakya here can create the aparoksha jnanam without vidhi. Nothing can happen without vidhi. And so even Tattvamasi also cannot generate aparoksha jnana unless the vidhi is imagined here. Here it says, Purvapakshi or Ekadeshi, that vidhimantarena, without the vidhi or niyoga, brahmatmaikam vakyat swayameva pratipadyeta. As you are claiming that this Tattvamasi Mahavakya itself generates aproksha jnanam without any vidhi. Tada yama niyamadikam anushthiyamanam mithya syat. So, if Vakya alone can do that, why should you have preparation, yama, niyama, etc., samadhi, shatka, sampatti? Shanto, dantah, upartah, titikshuhu, shraddhavitto, bhutva, atmaniyat. That is supposed to be vidhi, by the way. So, that shama, dhamma, etc. enjoined. Now, if without anything, if this Vakya itself is capable of generating knowledge, then what's the need of preparation? And all these instructions given of preparation, they would become what? Mithyasyad, meaning they would become meaningless. Yama, niyama, you can call it yama, niyama, call it samadhi, shatka, sampatti, etc. All that is enjoined, and that you are supposed to do. If without enjoyment, the Vakya alone can create knowledge, what's the use of all that samadhi, shatka, sampatti? You can get knowledge without that preparation itself. In that case, this samadhi, shatka, sampatti becomes useless. Does not serve any purpose. Upakarya abhavat. Upakarya is knowledge. But then, without them the knowledge has taken place, therefore those things become redundant. This is the other argument. Cheshtitam. So, next verse is Cheshtitam chayatho mithya swachandah pratipadyate prasankhyanamataḥ karyam yavadatma anubhuyate. Cheshtitam chayato mithya swachandah pratipadyate. Cheshtitam means what? Anustam yamadi. The yama niyama etc. this person has done, or samadhi shatka sampatti is acquired. Mithya will become meaningless. Swachandah pratipadyate. If the Vakya does not require any action, Vakya can generate knowledge in anybody, because you say Vakya is capable of creating aproksha jnana, then the preparation of yama niyama, or viveka, vairagya, samadhi, sampatti, etc. becomes redundant. Because swachanda means that without any action, this knowledge takes place. So without anything on the part of the listener, knowledge takes place. That's the idea. That's what Vakya is. Vakya is pramanam, creates the knowledge. Even now also these Vakyas are creating. The listener doesn't need to do anything. Shabda is pramana. So as you claim the knowledge, aparoksha jnanam takes place in an aspirant. Just by listening, the Vakya is doing that job. He doesn't have to do any job, that means. So he was asked to do samadhi, shatka, sampatti, etc. What's the use of that when Vakya is capable of creating knowledge, as you claim? You see the subtle differences here in what the Purva Paksha is saying. Cheshtitam, anushtitam, yamadi, swachandah, swechhavan, anuyukta idhyavata. Without niyoga, without injunction, tattvamasi, that Vakya itself creates a knowledge in the listener. Then all the samadhi, shatka, sampatti, which was enjoined that this is what you must do, that becomes meaningless, because without them also Vakya does the job. Any student can get the knowledge, looks like, because Vakya is capable of making that, creating a paroksha jnana. So he is sort of touching our sensitive points, So cheshtitam yato mithya swachandah pratipadyate ched iti adhyara. Swachandah means without doing anything, if the listener can gain the knowledge, simply by the instruction of the teacher, Tattvamasi. Then, what is the point in saying that you must have Viveka, Vairagya, all of that? Because Vakya is doing their job. Therefore, prasankhyanam atah, that cannot be, we know very well. There are some preparations required over and above the Shravanam. And that is the preparation, he says, therefore, prasankhyanam, that yukti etc. anuchintanam is required. Yavat atma anubhuyate. The Vakya itself cannot create the aparokshanubhava, but prasankhyanam will create aparokshanubhava. So very subtle difference here that Vedantin says the Vakya creates aparoksha jnanam. He says no, Vakya should be accompanied with this prasankhyanam, then only aparoksha jnanam can be created. In asserting that, he is giving different aspects that job can be done only when the vidhi is there. Therefore you have to imagine vidhi. And without the vidhi, if the knowledge takes place, when no expectation is there on the part of the listener, then why was he asked to cultivate samadhi satka sampatti? That would be meaningless. So vidhi is involved, even though there is no explicit statement, but vidhi is involved. So you may imagine Tattvamasi involves vidhi, and that is prasankhyanam. Itopi prasankhyanam viditah anushthayamiti. Further reason why this prasankhyanam mananam basically. The difference is that the Siddhanti says that Shravanam alone is capable of creating aparoksha jnanam. Ekadeshi says Shravanam alone is not enough. You require prasankhyanam, which means mananam. Repeating the Vakya, revolving the Vakya with yukti to make it aparoksha jnanam. So next one says, Ito, for this reason also, prasankhyanam viditah anushthayam, that you should imagine that vidhi, that prasankhyanam is to be done as though it is enjoined, even though you don't explicitly see that. Sadasmiti cha vijnanam akshajo vadate dhruvam शब्दोत्तम दृढ़ संस्कार है दोषैश्चाकृष्यते बहिः. So dasmiti cha vijnanam, even the knowledge that takes place of dasmi brahmasmi, I am Brahman, akshajo bhadate dhruvam, it's all right when you are in the mode of Shravanam that this knowledge takes place. But the moment you come to Vyavahara and then you interact with the world with the help of your organs of perception, so that's Aksha means sense organs. Akshajaha, what is born of the sense organs, meaning that the duality, etc., that you perceive with sense. Now, when you are come to Vyavahara, he says the samskara of duality is so strong. Sab dhrudha samskara hai. Taking world as real, taking body as Atma, these samskaras have been there, and they are so strong that will only overwhelm their knowledge that Aham Brahman. So this is nididhyasa, that is also required. So akshajaha, aksha means sense organ, akshajaha, the knowledge born of the sense perception in duality. You go back again into your old rut that I am the body, the world is real. Shabdotham dhrudha samskara doshaischakrishyate bahihi. So Shabdotham Vijnanam Dhrudha Samskar Ajaha Dhrudha Samskar Akshajaha Dhrudha Samskaraha Dhruvam Bhadate. Shabdottam Vijnanam, the knowledge born of Shabda, of Vakya. Then Dura Samskara, because samskara of taking body to be the self, world to be real is so strong, Akshaja, that when you then interact, then those samskaras will take over you. And therefore that knowledge will be overwhelmed. Doshaisya akrushyate. Secondly, doshaisya akrushyate bahi. Other thing is that there are also samskaras or vasanas of sense, pleasure, and therefore they will also drive your mind away. So here two things are stated. One is that the taking body to be Atma or the Jagat to be Satyam, those samskaras are so strong that this knowledge won't stand before those samskaras are very strong, overwhelm the knowledge. Secondly, the attraction towards sense pleasures is so strong also that those dosha, those ragadvesas also will drag your mind away from you, make it extrovert. So as long as these things are, prasankhyanam is required. So Tika says, Sadasmiti Shabdottam Vijnanam, Shabda or Vakya. I am Sat. This is I am Brahman, I am Sat. Continuing that same sixth chapter of Chandogya. Shabdottam is that is born of Shabda. Shabdaduttam Vijnanam. The knowledge that is born of the Shabda or Mahavakya. Akshajaha Pratyaksha Pratyaha. Karta Bhokta evam adi akara bhadate. Habitually, must be Karta Bhokta and also the Jagat as real. So those samskaras will take over and then they will overcome or overwhelm this knowledge, bhadate, they will negate this knowledge. Dhruvam Nishchitam, it will definitely happen. Meaning that this Mahavakya cannot generate that firm knowledge. Even if it generates knowledge, Aham Brahmasmi or Sadasmi, then also that knowledge will be overwhelmed by the samskaras of taking the upadhi to be Atma, Jagat to be real, and also the vasanas for the sense pleasure. All of these are strong and they will take over that knowledge. Akshajasya prabalya hetu garam vishesham dhura samskara heti. Because this person has dhura samskara. Samskaras are very firm and therefore they will arise in your vyavahara and they will overwhelm the knowledge. Kincha tena mukshoho doshahi ragadevasya bahi akrushyate bahirmukhe kriyate. Again, the same akshajam jnanam. So again, when you interact with the sense objects, then the old samskara of the sense pleasures also will arise and make your mind extrovert. So number one, that samskaras will arise and overwhelm the knowledge that I am Brahmasmi. Secondly, the vasanas will arise and drag your mind away from you toward the sense objects. Ataha, so these doshas are there. Ataha prasankhyanam dosha nivrutte cha karyam. Additional point. That doshas are there and therefore for dosha nivrutti. What dosha samskara? Dura samskara is there. Dura samskara of taking this atma to be body to be atma and taking myself as karta bhokta. And secondly, samskaras of sense pleasures to this kind of samskaras are there and there will be obstacles to the you won't get the benefit of this knowledge. Therefore, to remove this dosha, prasankhyanam is required. Looks like it's repeating only our stand, But anyway, so we'll see the subtle differences. Na kevalam chiram nirudavasana agritattvena Pratyaksha pravalyam. Apitu Vishaya Vishesha Vishayatvaacheti. Niruda Vasana Ghatitattvena. Call it samskara or call it vasana. That vasana of the sense pleasure or the vasana samskara of taking Atma to be karta bhokta. So not only that is the reason when the pratyaksha means what you experience, karta, that I experience that I am karta bhokta. That experience of karta bhokta also is an immediate experience and that is stronger than this knowledge aham brahmasmi. Pratyaksha pravalyam. Apitu Vishesha Vishayatvacha. Samanya Vishaya and Vishesha Vishaya. So because this Vishesha Vishayatvacha ityaha, Pratyaksha pravalyam. So Pratyaksha gives a Vishesha jnanam. There is Samanya jnanam and Vishesha jnanam. When you hear the word fire, then an idea of fire takes place in your mind which is called Samanya jnanam. When you see the fire, then Vishesha jnanam takes place. You understand the difference between the two? When you just hear the word fire, that word can create a general idea of fire. That's called Samanya jnanam. When you see the fire, that's Pratyaksha jnanam, then you have the Vishesha jnana of fire. The fire exactly is like this. Shabda can create Samanya jnana or Paroksha jnana only. Only perception can create the Vishesha jnanam or Paroksha jnanam. Therefore, Vishesha Vishayatvacha Tattvamasi Shabda. A Vakya or Shabda can always create only Samanya jnanam or Paroksha jnanam. Like the word fire can create only Paroksha jnanam of the entity fire. When you see the fire, the Pratyaksha can create Vishesha jnanam. It is stronger than Samanya jnanam. Vishesha jnanam is stronger than Samanya jnanam. So Tattvamasi Mahavakya creates Samanya jnanam. Pratyaksha, when this person again interacts with the world, then Pratyaksha, his experience is that, therefore, the Pratyaksha is always stronger than the Paroksha Samanya jnanam created by Shabda. Earlier the objection was your samskaras will overtake you and therefore deviate you from the knowledge. Here says the Shabda can only create Samanya jnanam and Pratyaksha creates Vishesha jnanam. You hear the word fire, Samanya jnanam. You see fire, Vishesha jnanam. So Vishesha jnanam is stronger than Samanya jnanam. Meaning that the knowledge generated by Pratyaksha or perception is stronger than knowledge created by Shabda. This is a general rule. But that rule applies here or not is a different thing. But the word fire can only create Paroksha jnanam, Samanya jnanam. And perceiving fire, seeing fire creates Vishesha jnanam. So Pratyaksha creates Vishesha jnanam, the Shabda Tattvamasi creates Samanya jnanam, Vishesha jnanam is stronger than Samanya jnanam. So the 14th verse says, Shrutanumana janmano Samanya vishayau yataha Pratyaya vakshajo vashyam Visheshartho nivarayet. That Tattvamasi Mahavakya creates Samanya jnanam because that's all Shabda can do. Whereas when this person does Vivahara, then Pratyaksha, he sees world, and the Pratyaksha jnanam is Vishesha jnanam, therefore, is stronger than Samanya jnanam in general. Shabda creates Samanya jnanam and perception creates Vishesha jnanam, Pratyaksha and perception. So, first point was the samskaras overwhelms the knowledge. Secondly, the pratyaksha always is stronger than shabda, because shabda creates samanya jnanam, pratyaksha creates vishaya jnanam. And therefore visheshartho nivaret. So vishesha vishayatvat pratyaksha is vishesha vishayam, pratyaksha perception creates the specific knowledge. Shabda creates general knowledge and pratyaksha creates specific knowledge. The specific knowledge always is stronger than the general knowledge. So Shruta Anumana Janmanav. Shruta means Shabda. Heard. Anumana. So word fire, you hear. Anumana. So because there is smoke, therefore there must be fire. So you see the smoke. And infer the presence of fire, that will be called Anumana. And so, thus either you hear the word fire and then knowledge takes place, or you see the smoke, then also only samanya jnanam takes place, because you don't see exactly what that fire is. You just infer that there is fire. So anumanam linga jnanam. So linga or evidence of smoke, you get the general knowledge that fire must be there. So Shabda also creates the paroksha jnanam. Anumana also creates paroksha jnanam. You follow? Samanya vishavyataha. Shabda and Anumana, both of them have their Vishaya as Samanya, the paroksha jnanam or general knowledge, call it. Then what happens is, says Tika vipralipsa prantyavi tatra sambhavimanatvat. Not only you just know samanyata fire, but vipralipsa and bhranti. Vipralipsa means cheating and bhranti means delusion. It's always possible, when you hear the word, it is possible that you may interpret it in your own way, depending upon your samskaras, etc. It is possible that a word can be misinterpreted. Bhranti can be there, or word can be vipralipsa, means that cheating can be there. And so this vipralipsa, these different doshas are involved or could possibly be involved in Shabda Jnanam. Understand, Vedanta was this is a different kind of Shabda, that is why. But he is saying, talking about Shabda in general. Vedanta says this is Shabda all right, but revealing something that is existing. It is true that Shabda can create only Paroksha, but Tvam Dashamosi, you are the 10th one, creates Aparoksha Jnanam because it is the statement of fact. Otherwise, Shabda creates Paroksha Jnana, we recognize. For something different from me, anything that is different from me, the Shabda can only create a flower or rose. Because rose is different from me, that word can only create Samanya Jnanam, Paroksha Jnanam. But here is different. Here the Shabda is, you are the 10th man, and he is said for that Vakya create Aparoksha Jnana, he is already 10th man. But anyway, these points are raised here to ultimately show that what applies in general does not apply to this one because this Shabda is of a different nature. In general, it says Shabda creates Paroksha. Many Mahatmas also say that, by the way. In this case, Shabda creates Paroksha Jnanam and Manam Nidhyasam creates. This is the Bhamadikara. That Nidhyasanam creates Aparoksha Jnanam and Shabda creates Paroksha Jnanam. Here the Mimamsa is saying that in general, these Mimamsaka views, everybody's views also. So not only Shabda creates Samanya Jnanam, but there can be misunderstanding or wrong understanding also. If you heard the word properly, or you know that word correctly or not, you have your own understanding of what that word means, which may be different from what the real meaning is. It's all possible when it comes to Shabda or Anumanam also. So, vipralipsa bhrantyohapi tatra sambhavimanatvat gatyantara samavacha, and therefore it can give you different kind of knowledge than what it really is. Pratyakshasya tat abhavat. But pratyaksha doesn't do that. When you perceive something, see with your eyes, there can be no cheating, no brahma, no doubt, no errors. So Atma or Drashtabhya, that is very firm knowledge. Meaning Pratyaksha is the strongest, Pratyaksha is stronger than Shabda in general, that is true. You have these six, means of knowledge. Pratyaksha, perception, Anumanam, Upamanam, Arthapatti, Anupalabdhi and Shabda. Of that, Shabda creates only Paroksha Jnanam, as we discussed. And Pratyaksha creates Paroksha Jnanam, immediate knowledge. When Pratyaksha creates immediate knowledge, other things all create. The Anumanam creates only Samanya Jnanam, Paroksha Jnanam, Shabda also creates Paroksha Jnanam. And therefore, Pratyaksha is the Mukhya Pramanam, or strongest Pramanam. Of all the means of knowledge, Pratyaksha is the Mukhya, strongest, Pramukham. And therefore this is Shabda, Tattvamadi Shabda. Pratyaksha is always stronger than Shabda. In Shabda you get general knowledge, Paroksha Jnanam, there can be misunderstanding also, wrong understanding also. But when you see, there cannot be. Therefore when this person comes back to Vyavahara and experiences this duality and body, etc., that is stronger than the knowledge that he has from that Vakya Aham Brahmasmi. Therefore, Bhadakatvam ityartha. Therefore, his experiences of duality will Bhadakam, will negate or overwhelm that knowledge of Aham Brahmasmi. So general rules are being tried. Vedanta will say in this one this doesn't apply, that's all. So what the Mimamsaka says applies in general. But this is a particular case, as Vedanta will point out. Therefore, from Dashamamsi, you are the 10th man. There Shabda creates the Paroksha Jnana. So in a particular case, when we are only revealing the existing fact, then Shabda creates a Paroksha Jnana. Hey, this is Krishnamurti, then a Paroksha Jnana. I see. Soyam Devadatta. So because he is Devadatta and I still don't see, I think I know him very well. Then he is this Devadatta. Then I realize, I saw him 10 years ago. And now he looks different, but then the same person. So in a particular case, Shabda can create a Paroksha Jnana when Shabda describes what is, and Shabda can remove my misunderstanding or lack of understanding. So, when we are talking about what is being experienced, then Shabda can create the Aparoksha Jnana. So, this is how the Purvapakshi is making various arguments. He'll continue up to, 4 more verses as far as this Purvapaksha is concerned, up to the verse 18. So, we'll continue. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.